I watched Elena adjust the cuff of her designer sleeve and felt a familiar swell of pride. "You look incredible tonight," I said, my voice almost too soft for the gala's crowd. She smiled, sharp and controlled, tilting her head like she always did when she wanted to charm someone. "You always know what to say to make me blush, darling," she replied, her eyes flicking briefly toward a group of her colleagues. I followed her gaze. Everyone seemed genuinely impressed by her presence, applause, compliments, subtle bows. She thrived on it, and I loved seeing her in her element. "Do they always act like this around you?" I asked, trying not to sound jealous. "They do," she said lightly, though I caught the tiniest hint of a smirk. "It comes with the territory." I laughed nervously. "Well, I guess I married the queen of corporate charm." "Careful," she teased. "Queens aren't exactly forgiving when husbands make jokes about their work." I chuckled, but inside a small unease flickered. My parents had warned me. She's ambitious, cunning, maybe even ruthless. But I'd brushed it off. I wanted to believe in the perfection I felt when I looked at her, the life we'd built. We moved through the gala, shaking hands, exchanging pleasantries. "Elena, your vision for the new project is brilliant," one colleague gushed. "Thank you, Marco," she said smoothly. "I couldn't have done it without my team." I caught Marco's eyes and gave a small nod, silently acknowledging the tension I sensed. Everyone adored her, but there was something distant in her gaze when it met mine, a cold edge I chose to ignore. Later, while we sipped champagne, she leaned close. "Are you enjoying yourself?" "Yeah," I admitted, glancing around at the glittering crowd. "But I can't stop thinking how lucky I am to be here with you." She smiled, a flicker of softness I cherished, but then her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, quickly tucking it back into her clutch. "Work never sleeps," she murmured. I tried not to pry, but curiosity gnawed at me. "Anyone important?" I asked casually. She shook her head. "Just emails. Nothing you need to worry about." I nodded, though a nagging suspicion lingered. I wanted to trust her completely, but tiny questions formed like shadows. Why was she always so precise, so unreadable at times? Dinner arrived, and the room buzzed with polite conversation. "Elena, do you ever get tired of all this?" I asked, gesturing to the bright lights and business chatter. "Never," she said confidently. "This is my world. I'm at home here." I smiled, heart swelling with admiration. I wish I could be half as confident. "You'll learn," she said, brushing my arm lightly. "You just need to see the game from my side." We talked, laughed, and shared stories, and I hung on every word. I didn't see the glances she exchanged with Daniel, her assistant, who had slipped quietly to her side. She spoke to him briefly, and I caught only fragments. "Prepare for the presentation. Make sure the board—" I dismissed it as professional. Chatter. Why would I think anything more? When the gala began to wind down, I helped her into her coat. "So, how's the CEO world treating you tonight?" "Challenging, exciting," she said smoothly, her smile never faltering. "Just like life should be." I couldn't stop myself. "Do you ever think about us? About what we're building together?" Her eyes met mine, calm, unwavering. "Every day, don't worry. You're part of this world too." Later, in the quiet of our limousine ride home, I saw her phone light up again. A single message appeared, short, cryptic. "Everything's ready. Tonight." I felt a chill, but I pushed it down. She noticed my stare and chuckled lightly. "What's the matter?" "Nothing," I said quickly, forcing a smile. "Just tired, I guess." She nodded, her gaze returning to the city lights. Unreadable and perfect. And I, in my foolish certainty, believed in our perfect marriage. Little did I know, the storm had already begun. EHP2I walked into the apartment and froze. Elena's laptop was open on the kitchen counter, emails streaming across the screen. She didn't notice me at first. "Late night again?" I asked gently, trying to keep my voice calm. She looked up, her expression smooth. "Just catching up. You know how it is." "Yeah, but it feels like you've been gone a lot lately," I said, leaning against the door frame. "After work? Dinners, calls, texts? You barely talk to me anymore." She smiled faintly. "I talk to you plenty. Maybe you just don't notice." "I notice, Elena," I said quietly. "I notice everything." Her eyes flicked to the laptop again. "Don't be dramatic. Work is demanding. You understand that." "I do understand, but it feels distant," I admitted, the pit in my stomach growing. She closed the laptop and moved toward me. "I'm right here, aren't I?" Her hand brushed mine, but it felt practiced, like a well-rehearsed move. "I know," I said, swallowing hard. "But it's different. I can feel it. Something's changing." She tilted her head, a little smirk tugging at her lips. "You worry too. Much." "I'm not just worrying," I said, voice rising slightly. "I'm sensing things. Little lies, deleted messages, late-night calls." She laughed softly, brushing past me. "Deleted messages? Really? I don't even have the energy to lie about that." I wanted to believe her, but a small doubt lingered. "Then explain Daniel," I said carefully. "You two seem close. Too close." She paused, raising an eyebrow. "Daniel, he's my assistant, that's all." "All?" I asked, trying not to let the jealousy slip in. "He looks at you like you're not just his boss. I see it." "Elena, I'm not blind," I added quickly. "I know when someone's flirting with you. And I know when you encourage it." She laughed, light and dismissive. "Oh, come on. He's harmless. You worry too much." "I don't want to worry," I said, feeling the edge in my voice. "I just want honesty. I want us." "We have us," she said, smiling again, but I noticed the faint flicker of annoyance in her eyes. "You always need reassurance, don't you?" "I need trust," I corrected, "not excuses." She touched my cheek lightly. "Trust me. I'm not going anywhere." I wanted to believe her. I wanted that perfect feeling from before when the world seemed small and safe between us. But I couldn't ignore the subtle cracks. The late nights she couldn't explain, the vague stories, the way her phone never left her hand. "Why does it feel like you're hiding something?" I asked, lowering my voice. "Hiding?" she echoed, tilting her head. "From you?" "Never." I glanced at the laptop again, the cursor blinking on an unopened message. "Then why are you so secretive with your calls?" She laughed again, soft, charming, infuriating. "I'm not secretive. You're imagining things. You always do." I felt a flicker of frustration. Am I imagining the texts I see vanish? Am I imagining the times you come home hours later than you said? She paused this time, just long enough for doubt to sting. "Maybe. You're too focused on small details," she said finally. "Sometimes things happen, and it's not a big deal." "It's a big deal to me," I said quietly, trying to control the tremor in my voice. "I feel like you're slipping away, like I don't even know you anymore." Her eyes softened, almost a shimmer of guilt, but she didn't explain. "I'm still me, just busier. More responsibilities. It's not you. It's the job." I nodded slowly, but the unease grew. I felt the tension between wanting to trust her and fearing the truth. I wanted to ask more, demand honesty, but I hesitated. "Daniel called you again today," I said eventually. "He sounds familiar, comfortable with you in ways I'm not." She laughed lightly. "He's professional. He knows me well, that's all." "But you let him linger," I muttered. "You answer his jokes, his stories, his little flirts." "Flirts?" she repeated, eyebrow raised. Please, you're imagining that too. I closed my eyes, letting frustration and fear churn. Am I? Maybe. But I can feel it, Elena. Something's off, and I don't know how much longer I can pretend everything's fine. She reached for my hand, her touch soft, almost persuasive. Pretending? We're not pretending. You're reading too. Much into normal things. Trust me, you always will. I wanted to believe her. I wanted the cracks to disappear. But my heart knew better. I could feel it, the subtle shift in her tone, the distance in her eyes, the things unsaid. I took a deep breath. All right, I'll try. But I'm watching, Elena. I notice everything. She smiled, perfectly composed. I'd expect nothing less. As I lay in bed later, I stared at the ceiling, replaying every smile, every laugh, every casual touch. I loved her, yes, but a small, icy knot of doubt tightened in my chest. Something was coming. Something I couldn't yet name, and I didn't know if I could survive it. I had come home early that evening, a rare surprise I thought would make Elena smile. Instead, the apartment was quiet. Too quiet. I noticed her laptop open on the dining table, notifications stacked like a small mountain. Elena? I called. Softly, no answer. Curiosity, or maybe dread, made me walk closer. And then I saw it. A message on the screen from Daniel. Can't wait to see you tonight. Alone. My chest tightened. What is this? I whispered to myself, voice barely audible. She appeared in the doorway behind me, casual, unaware, or pretending. I didn't hear you come in, she said, smiling. I turned to face her, heart hammering. Elena, who is this? Daniel? Eyes flicked to the laptop, and I swear for a second I saw panic, though she masked it immediately. That's nothing. Just a work thing. A work thing? I echoed, stepping closer. This says, alone. Alone? With him? She sighed, running a hand through her hair. It's not what you think. Daniel, he's just being careless with words. Careless? Elena, this isn't careless. This is betrayal. My voice cracked, disbelief mixing with rage. I trusted you. I love you. Her expression softened slightly, a touch of pity in her eyes. Don't say that. You're overreacting. Overreacting? I shouted. I saw it with my own eyes. All those times you said you were busy with work, lying, all of it. Elena, tell me the truth, I demanded, gripping her shoulders. Are you cheating on me with him? She shook her head slowly, lips trembling into a calculated smile. You're twisting things. It's not like that. Not like that? Then what is it? I yelled, stepping back, trying to make sense of the pieces. It's complicated, she said softly, almost sulking. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. I need support, attention. And Daniel, he's just helping me cope. Helping you cope? I repeated, voice breaking. You've been lying, sneaking, deceiving me. My parents. They warned me about this, and I ignored them. I ignored every warning. She tilted her head, a hint of manipulation creeping in. Your parents, they don't understand. I didn't ask for their approval. You chose me, didn't you? Yes, I chose you, I shouted. I loved you blindly, and look at me now. Look at what I've become, a fool who believed in the perfect marriage while you were... I couldn't finish. You have to calm down, she said, her voice almost coaxing. You're making a scene. We can talk about this. Rationally. Rationally? Rationally, I laughed bitterly. How am I supposed to be rational when the person I trust most cheats on me? Right in front of me? She stepped closer, attempting to touch my arm. It's not exactly what it looks like. I didn't mean to hurt you. Didn't mean to hurt me? I repeated, voice low but deadly. Every lie, every late night, every secret text, Did you ever think about me? About us? I do, she said softly, her eyes wet, but I could see the performance. I think about us constantly. You misinterpret things. I misinterpret, I almost screamed. Elena, I saw your messages. I saw the way you look at him. I saw your calls, your dinners, the lies you told. She flinched slightly, but then regained composure. Maybe you're exaggerating, or maybe your mind is seeing things that aren't there. You always overthink. I felt my hands tremble. No, I don't overthink. I see reality, Elena. I see betrayal, and I can't. My throat tightened. I can't stay blind anymore. Her lips quivered, her eyes glimmering with practiced guilt. Please, don't ruin this. I love you, I do, but sometimes you have to forgive. Sometimes you have to see the bigger picture. The bigger picture? I spat. The bigger picture is that I was living a lie, that I was made a fool, that every warning, every doubt, every feeling I ignored. It was right! She stepped closer again, trying to touch my shoulder. Listen, I didn't plan for this to happen. It's messy, complicated, and yes, Daniel is involved, but you have to understand the circumstances. The circumstances? I repeated, laughing bitterly. There's nothing to understand. There's only betrayal. And do you know what I feel right now? What? She whispered, her voice faltering. I feel sick. I feel empty. I feel like the world I believed in has been ripped away, I said, my voice cracking. I feel like a fool, Elena. A fool who trusted the person he loved more than anything. She looked at me, eyes wet, lip trembling, but I couldn't see the woman I married. I only saw manipulation, deceit, and a cold reality I could no longer ignore. I can't be here, I said finally, my chest tight, tears stinging my eyes. I can't watch this. I can't pretend anymore. Elena, wait. She tried, but I didn't listen. I grabbed my coat, my keys, my phone, anything I could carry. I need space. I need time. I can't. I paused, swallowing hard. I won't be powerless anymore. Not to you, not to him, not to anyone. I opened the door, leaving the apartment behind, and felt my legs tremble as I stepped into the hallway. My chest ached, my heart shattered, and yet a flicker of resolve burned inside me. I thought of my parents, their warnings echoing in my mind. I had ignored them. I had trusted blindly. But now, I swore silently, I would never be powerless again. As I walked into the night, tears streaming down my face, I promised myself one thing. I would take control. I would make sure betrayal had consequences, and I would never let anyone, no one, undermine my life the way Elena had. I sat at my desk, staring at the city skyline through the office window. The skyline used to make me feel small, insignificant, but now it felt like a challenge. A world to conquer without Elena pulling the strings behind the scenes. Sophia, a colleague from the strategy team, walked by holding a folder. You look like you've been thinking all night, she said, setting it down in front of me. More than all night, I admitted, rubbing my temples. It's complicated. She smiled gently, tilting her head. Complicated how? Work? Life? Love? I laughed bitterly. All of the above. Want to talk? She asked softly. Her presence was calming, honest, something I hadn't felt in months. I don't know if I can, I said, my voice low. I keep replaying everything with Elena. Every lie, every secret, the betrayal. It's like I'm stuck in that moment. Sophia nodded. I get that, but you're still standing. You didn't let it destroy you completely. I'm trying not to, I admitted. But it's hard to focus. Part of me wants revenge immediately, and part of me wants to wait, see how karma unfolds. Patience can be powerful, she said, leaning against the desk. Sometimes, waiting gives you clarity, strategy. Reacting too soon can backfire. I considered her words. Clarity, strategy. That's what I need, not just emotional release. Exactly, she said. You can rebuild, piece by piece. Start with yourself first. Work, friends, focus. Don't let betrayal define your life. Her advice felt like a lifeline. You make it sound simple. It's not simple, she said, shrugging. It's doable if you're intentional. I smiled faintly. Intentional? I like that. Good, she said. Now for your next move. Have you considered using your strengths at work to regain confidence? I have, I admitted. I've been thinking about a project I can lead, a way to show that I'm capable, that I'm still relevant. Not just a husband betrayed. Then do it, she said firmly. Lead, make decisions, rebuild your life actively, not passively. Her encouragement sparked something inside me. You know, I think I've been too passive, waiting for Elena to make mistakes, for karma to act. But I can't rely on that alone. Exactly, she said. You need to reclaim your power, subtly, strategically. And when the time comes, you'll know how to act. I leaned back, taking a deep breath. Subtlety, strategy, patience. I can do that. She smiled warmly. You already are. Look at how you handled the initial shock. You didn't lash out publicly. You kept control. That's strength. Strength. I repeated. The word felt foreign but empowering. I've been naive for too long, thinking love meant blind trust, thinking perfection existed in marriage. Perfection doesn't exist, she said softly, but control, resilience, intelligence, they do. And you have all three. You just need to direct them. I nodded slowly, feeling the weight of her. Words sink in. Direct them? Yes. I need a plan. Good. Start with small wins, she suggested. Focus on your work. Reconnect with friends. Strengthen your network. Build yourself back up before confronting her directly. Friends. I muttered. I realized I had been isolating myself, letting shame and heartbreak dominate. I do have people I can rely on. I've been too caught up in my own pain. You're human, she said kindly. But the pain doesn't have to control you. You control it. I smiled faintly, feeling a flicker of hope. I like that. Control the pain. Control my life. Exactly, she said. And when the time comes, you'll be ready. Calm, collected, smart, not rash, not desperate. I looked out the window again, the city lights sparkling like possibilities. I want that. I want to be unshakable, unbreakable. And maybe, finally, I can take control of my own story. Sophia nodded. You already are. One step at a time. Build your foundation, and everything else will follow. I took a deep breath, feeling a sense of purpose I hadn't felt in months. One step at a time, I repeated. Focus, rebuild, plan. Exactly, she said with a soft smile. And remember, you're not alone. Lean on people you trust. Share the burden. Don't let isolation cloud your judgment. I think I can do that, I said, feeling a rare surge of optimism. I can rebuild. I can become stronger than before. Good, she said. And when the moment comes to confront Elena, or let karma unfold, you'll know exactly what to do. You'll be ready. I nodded. Ready. Yes, that feels right. Like I'm finally moving forward instead of spinning in circles. Sophia glanced at the clock. We should get back to work. But remember, slow and steady wins the battle. Patience is your ally. I won't forget, I said firmly. Patience, strategy, focus. And I won't let her or anyone control my life again. She smiled approvingly. That's the spirit. And remember, rebuilding isn't just about power. It's about strength, resilience, and self-respect. I leaned back in my chair, thinking of the path ahead. Step by step, piece by piece, I would rebuild. I would regain my confidence, my control, my life. Elena wouldn't define me anymore. Her betrayal had sparked something fierce, deliberate and focused. "I'll start with work," I said aloud, almost to myself. "Show them I'm still capable, still in control. Then, I'll plan my next moves carefully." Sophia nodded again. "Exactly. You're already thinking strategically. That's half the battle won." I smiled faintly. Strategic thinking, patience, subtle action. "I've got this." She gave me one last encouraging nod before walking away. I watched her go, feeling a strange mix of gratitude and newfound determination. I was no longer the man crushed by betrayal. I was the man learning to rise from the ruins piece by piece. And this time I wouldn't stumble. I wouldn't let weakness rule me. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes briefly, and whispered to myself, "I'll rebuild. I'll be stronger. And I'll make sure she, and everyone, realizes I am not someone to be underestimated." For the first time in months, I felt hope. Real hope.
I sat in my office, the city lights outside casting long shadows across my desk. My hands hovered over the keyboard, not to type, but to pause, plan, strategize. Everything Alina had built, every word she'd whispered in charm and deceit, now saw clearly. I would turn it against her subtly, carefully. Sophia knocked lightly on the door. "You're still here?" she asked, holding 2 cups of coffee. "I can't sleep," I admitted. "Too many thoughts, too many plans." She raised an eyebrow, setting a cup in front of me. "Plans?" "Plans, too. Reclaim control," I said quietly. "Not just emotionally, but professionally. She's reckless, arrogant, and I have insider knowledge she doesn't suspect I noticed." Sophia leaned against the desk. "Oh, so you're going to play the game. Carefully, quietly, smart." "Exactly," I said, sipping the coffee. I'm not confronting her yet. I want the board, the colleagues, everyone to see her cracks. Her arrogance, her overreach, and I'll orchestrate it subtly. "One misstep at a time. You've changed," she said, a soft smile crossing her face. "The shock broke you, but now you're sharper, smarter. You're no longer just the husband she betrayed. You're a strategist." I laughed lightly. "Right. Guess betrayal teaches more than any mentor ever could. Just promise me you won't lose yourself in revenge," Sophia warned. "There's a difference between strategy and obsession." "No," I said firmly. "This is controlled, calculated, and when the right moment comes, she'll see the consequences of her arrogance without me having to lift a finger directly." The next morning, I attended a board meeting. Alina arrived late, confident, radiant as ever. But I noticed the subtle tension in her posture when she saw me. "Good morning," I said, keeping my tone casual. "It's a busy night." She smiled, a practiced charm in every curve of her lips. "Business never sleeps." "Of course," I replied smoothly. "That's why it's impressive you manage everything and still keep appearances." Her smile faltered ever so slightly, though she hit it quickly. "Appearances are important," she said, voice measured. I nodded slowly. "It's true, but substance matters more. I'd hate for appearances to distract from the real performance." She gave me a faint look, eyebrow raised. "Performance?" "Yes," I said lightly. "I mean, the board values results, not just charm. We all do." Daniel sat near her, flustered, adjusting his tie. He caught my gaze and I saw hesitation in his posture. Even he sensed the shift. Later in the hallway, Sophia appeared beside me. "I saw what you did in the meeting," she whispered. "That subtle undermining. Brilliant. Elena's charm can't mask reckless arrogance forever. She thinks she's untouchable," I murmured. "But every small error I expose adds up. She doesn't realize I've noticed patterns, inconsistencies, tiny mistakes." "Exactly," Sophia said, in patience. "Let them notice. Let her slip on her own, while you stay above suspicion." I nodded. "One misstep at a time, and when it all unfolds, it will seem natural. Karma doing its work." That evening, I received a call from Daniel. "Can we talk?" he asked, voice strained. Of course, I said. You busy managing things for Alina? I added, letting the question linger. There was a pause. It's complicated. Things aren't simple right now. I understand, I said calmly. Sometimes the people we serve complicate things. Just remember your actions have consequences too. I know, he said, sounding shaken. I didn't expect any of this. None of us ever do, I replied, voiced gentle but firm. But clarity comes to those who notice, who adapt. You can choose wisely or falter. The next week, I subtly leaked minor inconsistencies from Elena's reports to trusted colleagues. Nothing traceable to me, but enough to make her appear hasty, careless. Each meeting I watched as the cracks widened, her confidence faltering. Sophia. And I debriefed every evening. She's panicking, she said one night. You're doing this well. You're strategic, subtle, untouchable. Untouchable, I repeated, savoring the word. It feels powerful. To see her uncertainty, her arrogance unravel without me attacking directly. Just careful guidance. But you're human, she reminded me. Don't let small victories blind you. There's still emotional risk. She's clever, I know, I said. She's already tried to manipulate me back. Text, a call, a plea, all subtle. She's testing if I'm reactive, but I'm not. I'm observing. Strategizing. Learning her weaknesses. Sophia nodded. Good. Patience. Strategic patience. A small victory came unexpectedly. During a high-profile client presentation, Alina misrepresented a figure. A minor slip easily caught, but in front of key decision-makers. I noticed the gasps, the subtle whispers. Her eyes met mine, briefly panicked, almost pleading. I smiled inwardly. Karma, I whispered. Sophia appeared beside me later. I saw that, she said. You stayed quiet. Let the moment unfold. It's brilliant restraint. She won't see it coming. She'll sense it eventually, I said. But by then, it will be too late. And I'll be ready for the next step. I like this version of you, Sophia said softly. Focused, calm, clever. Not the naive man she betrayed. Neither do I admitted. I've been naive too long. But now, every move is calculated. Every conversation, every gesture. I'm learning to turn her arrogance against her. The tension between morality and revenge nagged at me, though. Was I crossing a line? Was this strategy or obsession? Sophia must have sensed it. It's strategy, not obsession. She said, You're not lashing out emotionally. You're observing, guiding outcomes. It's intelligent, not vengeful. I nodded, letting her words soothe the edge of doubt. Intelligence, control, patience. I'll need all three. The week closed with a minor triumph. Elena's credibility took a subtle hit at a team meeting. A carefully placed comment from a colleague, a factual correction, exposed her haste without my interference. I watched from the sidelines, satisfaction warming my chest. A small victory, but meaningful, she realized, though she wouldn't admit it, that her control was slipping. Power. I whispered quietly to myself. It's subtle, but it's mine now, and I'm just getting started. Sophia appeared at my side, offering a quiet smile. You did well, and you stayed composed. That's important. Every small victory builds momentum. I nodded. Momentum. Yes, and the bigger picture is clear. I reclaim control, carefully, strategically, and when the time comes, my eyes hardened. She'll see the consequences of her arrogance without me needing to strike directly. She nodded approvingly. Exactly. By then, you'll be ready for anything. I looked out the office window again, city lights reflecting possibilities. For the first time in months, I felt power, hope, and a clear sense of direction. Betrayal that had once left me broken now fueled me, sharpened me. Alina would not win. Not this time. Not ever. I walked into the boardroom, calm and collected. The tension was electric, but this time it wasn't me who was nervous. Lena sat at the head of the table, radiating confidence, or at least trying to. I could see through the mask. Good morning, everyone, she began, voice polished as always. Let's review last quarter's performance. I leaned back in my chair, fingers steepled, watching. The room seemed to shift subtly. Some colleagues avoided her gaze, whispering quietly among themselves. I smiled faintly, small cracks forming. Where arrogance once ruled. Actually, I said softly, drawing her attention. I noticed some discrepancies in the report you circulated. Minor numbers, but they affect projections. Her smile faltered. Discrepancies? I'm sure everything was double-checked. I nodded slowly. Yes, but it's important for accuracy. Our investors rely on precision. Even small errors can erode trust. A few colleagues glanced at her, subtle curiosity in their expressions. Daniel shifted in his seat, uncomfortable. I caught his eye briefly. Fear thinly veiled, flickered across his face. Elena's fingers tapped against the table, a slight tremor. Betraying her composure, I'll review it immediately, she said carefully. I'd be happy to assist, I offered. I've noticed patterns before that can prevent future mistakes. She nodded stiffly, her charm no longer enough. To dominate the room? I realized how far I'd come from naive husband to calculated observer. After the meeting, Sophia pulled me aside. You're doing it? She whispered. She's faltering, and people are noticing. Momentum is on your side. I know, I said quietly. But I can't get careless. One wrong move, and she could spin it back. Manipulate the narrative, then stay calm, she said. Your patience is your weapon. Let them see her cracks themselves. The next few days were a careful dance. I subtly highlighted errors, questioned decisions with tact, and let colleagues witness Elena's growing frustration. I never attacked directly. I simply guided the narrative, letting reality reveal the consequences of her recklessness. One afternoon, Daniel approached me, privately. I didn't expect this, he said, voice low. Elena's empire, it's cracking. People are talking, I noticed. I replied evenly. And you? Are you reconsidering your choices? He hesitated. I should have warned. Her, I should have done something. You should have, I said softly, letting the weight of my calm control sink in. But now, you can either adapt or fall with her. Consequences are coming, whether we act or not. He nodded, shaken. I understand. I'll try to correct what I can. Later that evening, I confronted Elena directly finally. She looked up from her office, her eyes wary. You've been busy? I said calmly, stepping inside. I've had a lot to manage, she replied, voice clipped. I noticed, I said evenly. Your influence is slipping. People are questioning decisions, noticing inconsistencies. And Daniel, he's faltering too. The cracks are showing. Her lips pressed together, a flicker of anger crossing her features. You think you've taken control? I've been watching, I said softly. And learning? You underestimated me. You assumed betrayal would leave me powerless. But I've grown. I'm not the man you deceived. Her eyes narrowed. So, this is your revenge? Undermining me? Using others against me? I shook my head. Not revenge. Clarity. Reality. Karma, if you like. I'm simply letting consequences unfold naturally, but I remain composed, calm, observant. She took a step closer, voice low. You don't know what you're doing. You think you're clever, but one misstep. One misstep? I repeated, keeping my voice steady. I've calculated. I've observed. I've grown. And I can see your mistakes clearly now, without emotion clouding my judgment. Expression faltered, though she tried to mask it. You think this is the end? I smiled faintly. It's a beginning for me. It's for clarity, for understanding. Your end will follow naturally if you continue your reckless path. Her fingers tightened against the edge of her desk. You've changed, she said, voice barely controlled. You're different. Yes, I admitted. I am different. I'm stronger, more patient, more aware. I've learned from heartbreak, from betrayal, and I won't allow anyone, not you, not him, to control me again. She stared at me, a mixture of fear and frustration. You think you're untouchable? Not untouchable, I corrected. Strategic, observant, patient, and aware. Every step I take is calculated. Every word I speak is deliberate. We stood in silence, the tension between us palpable. The first time, I wasn't shaking, wasn't pleading, wasn't lost. I was in control. Later, I walked through the office, colleagues whispering softly, casting furtive glances at me. Some nodded subtly. Others avoided eye contact with Elena. Her isolation became evident in the smallest gestures. The hesitant tone of her voice, the slight tremor in her confident exterior, I reflected quietly. Betrayal had cut deep, leaving wounds I feared might never heal, but from that pain came clarity. From heartbreak came strategy. From confusion came focus. I realized that the true power shift wasn't just externalite, was internal. I was no longer the man defined by Elena's deceit. I was the man who had reclaimed himself. Sophia appeared beside me again, her eyes bright. "You've done it," she whispered. "The shift is real. People are noticing, and you're maintaining control." "This is impressive," I nodded. "It's not just about exposure. It's about restraint, patience, subtlety. Letting her unravel without force, without rash action." "Exactly," she said. "When your colleagues, you're seeing what she's hiding. The fractures are obvious, and you're the calm center." I smiled faintly, a quiet satisfaction in my chest. Calm center. I like that. I am the calm center. Later that night, I sat alone, reflecting. From the man broken by betrayal, confused and heartbroken, I had transformed. The power shift was not just Elena's empire crumbling. It was my own life, my confidence, my strategy, my control. Daniel's unease, the subtle whispers of colleagues, Elena's faltering charm, it all confirmed that I was no longer powerless. I had learned to act without rage, to guide without exposure, to see the bigger picture. And the biggest lesson, emotional strength, was the ultimate power. Clarity, strategy, patience, and self-control, all forged from heartbreak, were my weapons. I closed my eyes, letting the sense of empowerment wash over me. The storm of betrayal that had once left me weak now fueled me, sharpened me, defined. Elena would not crush me. She would not manipulate me. Her recklessness would expose her, and I would stand untouched, unshaken, witness to her downfall without surrendering my own integrity. I smiled faintly to myself. The power had shifted, and I was ready for whatever came next. I walked into the office that morning with a sense of calm I hadn't felt in months. The storm was over, though the remnants lingered. Elena's empire, once untouchable, now showed the fractures I had quietly encouraged. "Good morning," I said to a few colleagues in the hallway. Their smiles were subtle, cautious, but genuine. Some whispered, others glanced at her office, where I knew tension had replaced her usual confidence. Sophia appeared beside me, offering a reassuring smile. "It's happening," she whispered. "You did this without losing yourself." "Impressive," I nodded. "Quiet satisfaction is better than gloating. Let karma do its work." Moments later, Daniel appeared in the lounge, eyes avoiding mine. "I can't do this anymore," he said quietly, voice trembling. "I'm leaving. I can't be part of it, part of her lies." "Understandable," I said calmly. "Actions have consequences, Daniel, and every choice we make defines us." He looked down, shame in his posture.
I thought I could manage it. I thought she cared, but I was wrong, completely wrong."
"I hope you learn from this," I said gently. "Not just about her, but about trust, honesty, integrity. Repeat the mistakes that led here." He nodded, voice barely above a whisper. "I won't. Thank you for showing me." Then he walked away, leaving a trail of remorse. Later, I found Elena alone in her office, reviewing some documents. She looked up when I entered, a faint mixture of defiance and fear in her eyes. "You've been busy," I said quietly, taking a seat across from her. "I have," she replied stiffly, voice controlled. "Things haven't gone as planned." "No," I agreed. "They haven't. The board has questions. Colleagues are observing closely. And Daniel has chosen his own path." Her fingers tightened around a pen. "So this is your revenge," she said, voice sharp. "You've orchestrated everything. I shook my head slowly. Not revenge, reality, consequences. You underestimated the effects of your choices. I've learned from betrayal. I've grown. I'm no longer the man you deceived. Her lips pressed together, eyes flicking away. You think you've won? Not won, I said evenly. I've observed. I've endured. I've grown. And I've reclaimed myself. That's all I needed. She stared at me for a moment, then whispered, I never thought you'd recover. I did, I said, softly. Not because I wanted to hurt you. Not because I wanted to gloat. Because I needed to survive, to rebuild, to regain clarity. And I have. Her eyes filled slightly with tears, though she quickly blinked them away. And karma unfolds naturally, I said. I guided nothing overtly. I simply stayed observant, patient, composed. Every misstep of yours revealed itself without me forcing it. That's the beauty of consequences. They find the person who sets them in motion. She looked down, voice barely audible. I didn't expect it to be like this. I thought I could control everything. Control is an illusion, I said. Trust honesty, integrity. Those are the real foundations of influence. You forgot them, and now you see the cost. I finally looked at me fully. Vulnerability. Replacing arrogance? I understand. Too late, maybe. But I understand. I nodded. Better understanding is always a start. Learn from this. Don't let it happen again. Not for business, not for love, not for anyone. There was a long silence between us. I could feel her reflection of my pain, the echo of every lie she'd whispered, every choice she'd made against me. Yet I didn't feel anger anymore, only calm clarity. I should apologize, she said quietly. I hurt you. I know, I said softly. Apology matters less than change, and change starts with recognition of mistakes. I hope you take that seriously. Her shoulders slumped slightly. I will. Try. I stood slowly, offering her a final, composed nod. That's all I needed. Closure, not revenge. Quiet satisfaction, not gloating. Later that day, Sophia joined me in the lounge. Did it, she said softly. You stayed true to yourself while letting the world correct itself. I did, I admitted. It feels liberating. To know that betrayal, heartbreak, and manipulation can be endured and still leave you. Stronger, wiser, calmer. She smiled gently, and stronger, wiser, calmer is exactly the man I've seen you become. Not just because of strategy, but because of patience and resilience. I laughed lightly. I never imagined patience would feel this. It's powerful, or clarity this satisfying. Love, trust, betrayal. They teach you more than anything else, she said, and you've passed the test. I guess I have, I said, looking out the window. The city was alive with lights and movement, but I felt detached from chaos. And inside I was calm, steady, unshaken. I finally understand what it means to rebuild without losing myself. Sophia leaned closer, and maybe, eventually, to trust again. Carefully, intentionally. You've earned the clarity to choose wisely next time. I nodded, considering. Trust. Yes. But only when it's deserved. Only when it aligns with truth and integrity. I won't allow blind faith to leave me vulnerable again. That's wise, she said, and healthy. You've learned the hardest way, but now you have perspective and peace. I let a small smile cross my face. Peace. Yes. Quiet satisfaction. Karma has acted naturally. And I didn't have to stoop to rage or deceit. I remained. Myself, observant, composed, patient. Sophia placed a hand on my shoulder. You've grown so much. Betrayal broke you, but it didn't destroy you. That's the real victory. Feels like it, I admitted. To look back and realize heartbreak didn't define me. Betrayal didn't shatter me completely. Instead, it reshaped me carefully, subtly, wisely. She nodded. And now you're free. To rebuild. To love. To trust. Cautiously, intentionally, fully aware. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of months lift. I am free. I finally see the difference between revenge and justice, between bitterness and clarity. Karma unfolded. Alina faced consequences. Daniel realized regret, and I survived intact. Intact and stronger, Sophia said softly. Yes, I said. Stronger. Yes. Ready for the next chapter. Whatever that may be. We sat in silence, not needing words. The city buzzed outside, but inside, everything felt still, whole and balanced. The storm of betrayal had passed. Leaving a landscape of quiet reflection and regained strength, I thought of Alina one last time, not with anger, but with clarity. She would rebuild if she could, but she had learned her lesson too late. I had regained myself. That was my victory. That was my karma. Sophia smiled gently, sensing my reflection. You've done more than survive. You've mastered yourself. I nodded slowly, a serene confidence in my posture. I have. I will never let anyone undermine my integrity or control my life again. Not her, not anyone. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, I felt complete. Not because Alina had fallen, or because karma had acted, but because I had reclaimed my power, my clarity, and my peace. And in that quiet, deliberate satisfaction, I finally knew what it meant. To endure, to learn, and to rise from betrayal, whole, unbroken, and wiser. I sat on the balcony, city lights twinkling like distant stars. The air felt lighter now, the weight of betrayal finally lifting. Sophia joined me, holding 2 mugs of tea. Mind if I sit? She asked softly. Not at all, I said, smiling. Faintly, it's peaceful here. She handed me a mug. You've earned peace. You've endured so much, and now you're finally free. I took a sip, feeling warmth spread through me. Free, yes, but freedom feels strange. I never realized how much I clung to her, even after everything. That's normal, she said. It's part of healing. The important thing is you're learning to trust yourself again. I am, I admitted. I've learned to listen to instincts, to observe, to act with clarity instead of emotion. Betrayal taught me more than I ever wanted to know. Sophia smiled, eyes reflecting admiration. You've grown, stronger, wiser, more patient. Yet still kind. That's rare. I guess kindness doesn't have to disappear with pain, I said softly. Just become selective. I've learned where to invest it. She laughed lightly and wisely. That's very you now. Calculated but not bitter. I leaned back, letting the cool breeze brush my face. I think about my parents a lot, actually. They warned me, told me she wasn't what she seemed. I ignored them, but now I understand their concern. You did. Eventually, Sophia said gently. And that understanding shows your growth. Not just from heartbreak, but from reflection. I nodded. Exactly. I wish I hadn't ignored them at the start, but life, it teaches in its own way. I had to experience the pain to learn the lessons fully. Later, I called my parents. Hearing their voices made something inside me shift, softened. But proud Mom, Dad, I began, voice calm but emotional. I wanted to tell you. I understand now. All the warnings, all the advice, I was blind before, but not anymore. There was a pause on the line. Then my mother said, We're proud of you, son. It's not about being perfect. It's about growing, learning, and becoming who you're meant to be. I've grown, I said. I faced betrayal, heartbreak, deceit, and yet I didn't lose myself. I learned patience, clarity, and how to reclaim control without losing my integrity. That's our boy, my father said warmly. You've come through fire and emerged stronger. That's what matters. I smiled, feeling an unexpected lightness. Thank you. It means more than you know. I finally understand the importance of discernment, resilience, and trusting my instincts. After the call, I shared a quiet moment with Sophia. Do you ever wonder if there's room for hope, for something new? I asked carefully, unsure. She looked at me, eyes soft.
Odd.
There's always room, as long as you're ready. You've rebuilt yourself. You've earned clarity and patience. The right connection will recognize that strength and integrity. I smiled, feeling a spark of something I hadn't felt in months possibility. I think I'm ready, I admitted quietly. Not rushing, not naive, just open to what life offers now. That's wise, she said, reaching out to touch my hand lightly. You'll recognize trust and love when it's real, and you'll know it's worth it. We sat together in silence, watching the city below. I reflected on every misstep, every betrayal, every lesson. Each moment of heartbreak had led me here stronger, calmer, clearer. Do you ever think about Alina? Sophia asked gently. Sometimes, I admitted, not with anger, not with desire to punish, just reflection. She faced the consequences of her choices. Karma worked in its own way, and I reclaimed myself. That's enough. Nodded, smiling. It's more than enough. It's true closure, and it shows who you've become. Someone resilient, wise, and ready to move forward. I took a deep breath. I'm ready to embrace life again. Career, friendships, love when it's genuine. I won't let betrayal define me. I won't let past pain dictate my future. Exactly, she said softly. You've earned this. Freedom. And with that freedom comes the chance to create something meaningful, carefully, intentionally, fully aware. I looked at her, a sense of hope filling me. Thank you, Sophia, for your support, for your patience, for helping me see clarity in chaos. I don't think I could have reached this point without you. She smiled, eyes warm. I'll continue to support you, however you need. You've done the hard work yourself. I'm just here to witness it. I let myself relax for the first time in what felt like years. Betrayal, heartbreak, deception, they had all been teachers. Pain had been my guide, but clarity had become my strength. I glanced at the skyline, feeling empowered yet peaceful. Life would continue, opportunities would arise, and choices would always matter. But now, I understood how to navigate them with patience, integrity, and awareness. New beginnings, I whispered quietly to myself. Sophia laughed softly. Exactly, and I think you're ready for every one of them. I smiled, heart lighter than it had been in months. I am, and I'll approach them with caution, clarity, and hope. I've survived the storm, and now I'll thrive in the calm. The city stretched below us, alive, but I felt separate from its chaos, stronger, wiser, and ready to trust myself in someday. Perhaps someone deserving of that trust. In that quiet moment, I realized the journey wasn't just about revenge or betrayal or karma. It was about transformation, self-respect, resilience, and reclaiming the power to choose my own path. Here's to new beginnings, I said softly, lifting my mug toward Sophia. She raised hers in return. To clarity, hope, and moving forward. Sipped the tea, letting the warmth and quiet fill the space between us. For the first time in months, I felt complete, not because the past had been erased, but because I had emerged stronger, wiser, and unbroken, and in that calm, reflective peace, I knew I could face whatever life had next, empowered, aware, and ready.